Hello everyone, welcome back. I know I said I was going to take a little bit of a break, but one second. I was doing some research on FNaF 4 Halloween edition, specifically all the cheats and whatnot, and like, look, quite frankly, like, so many of them, the tactic is still incredibly similar. It's just essentially fuck Foxy, don't really try and follow him, and stick to an incredibly strict pattern. Pretty much the entire game. Semi3D, welcome to the stream. I hope you do enjoy. So yeah, so we're playing FNaF 4 Halloween Edition, but before we launch into the game, because I know immediately we're going to be starting off with some very hard nights with all the challenges and whatnot. I'm going to talk about the FNaF stuff. So my specific experience with Halloween Edition, I don't think I've actually ever played the Halloween Edition. I said that I've played FNaF 4. I played the first 2 nights before, but I don't think I've ever actually played the Halloween Edition. So I'm excited to get into it and to play and to experience the, although minor, the differences that it does have. What else do I talk about? So yeah, it's kind of all the experience that I have with FNaF 4 Halloween Edition, not much. But like, for what it is, like, it seems fun. It's a quick little add-on to FNaF 4, just some skins, and then the challenges and the secret stars obviously add a whole new element to the game. But then the cheats as well, they added the cheats, I believe. The cheats and the challenges got added, so it kind of was a nice bonus. Then all the skins and whatnot to make it spookier were pretty cool. But FNaF 4 Halloween Edition, what's the best FNaF animatronic? I think I always still say Nightmare. I don't know if Nightmare is still my favorite FNaF animatronic, but he's certainly up there with one of my favorites. What about yours? What's your favorite animatronic? Bring out Fetty, just so we have the obligatory Fetty showcase. But FNaF 4 Halloween Edition specifically, though, is when I really started to get into FNaF. I've been very keen to get to this game, because this is where the story starts to turn. Because I talked about how with FNaFs 1, 2, and 3, I kind of knew of them, especially FNaF 3 when that had come out, because that was talked about a lot at my school. But I was still terrified of the game. And because of that, I didn't really like Molten Freddy. That's a good choice. I do like Molten Freddy as well. It's a pretty cool design. I just didn't really pay attention much to the release of FNaF 4 because I knew I was so scared of FNaF. But I remember it was about that time I was really starting to get into YouTube culture, and then subsequently, obviously, FNaF, because there's no way you could not get into YouTube culture around 2015 and not have been at least aware of FNaF's existence. And so I started watching like a lot of the musical stuffs, like people, especially Random Encounters there. Five Nights at Freddy's musical was a big thing for me. And then that eventually led me to watch Markiplier, and then Jacksepticeye, and then of course that just grew outwards. But it all kind of started with FNaF. And when I went to discover Markiplier, he had just started uploading the Halloween Edition episodes of FNaF 4. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to give them a watch. And I really enjoyed them. And I started being like genuinely terrified of FNaF less. And then from FNaF 4 Halloween Edition, I went back and I watched all of Markiplier's videos, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course the Halloween Edition videos. And from that point on, I was then a fan of FNaF. This would have been before FNaF World released. We won't get into FNaF World much anymore, but at this point, I'm no longer scared of FNaF. I have watched all the games, and I can now consider myself a fan. So at this point, like, I'm starting to get into FNaF, which is really exciting for me at the time. Alrighty. Let's do it. Launch Halloween Edition. So now that Halloween Edition is technically a bit harder than the main game, and I am going to regret that so much, purely because Nightmare Mangle constantly makes radio noises throughout the night, I'm pretty sure. Just going to be super annoying. Anyway, turn the volume up. Extras. Let's see if yeah, they have changed. They go Jacko Bonnie. Cool design, Jacko Chica. I really do love the Jacko designs. They're very cool. Nightmare Mangle. Fredbear. Nightmare Balloon Boy. Dude, I love the hands. They have some skeletal. His hands look. And Nightmare on. What a cool design. Good look at the new jump scares. Okay. Oh, let's oh no, my baby. Let's get straight into it. So, what's going to happen is there's a total of 6 nights essentially we need to beat to get 6 secret stars. So we need to beat Lion Mode, Mad Freddy, Insta Foxy, All Nightmare, and then All Nightmare Blind Mode, and then Blind Mode, Mad Freddy, Insta Foxy, which is the hardest of them all and is often cited as being harder than 2020 mode. So I'm just going to start off warming up and playing blind mode because it shouldn't be any different from the regular Nightmare Night except the fact that I can't see. Alrighty. Get our death counter up. Get my stopwatch ready. There we go. Okay. Like, go up on the menu. Well, up one to cheats. Yeah, this? Sammy? I thought you don't know, I'm not using the Fun with BB or Fun with Plush Trap bonus times. I know it says that bonus hour earned from these can be used. Got 5. What's making Fredbear? Or the jump scared. He's trying to get me jump scared. Yeah, it's still Foxy. What? This looks cool. What, the making of Foxy? And Fredbear. Yeah, pretty cool. Alright, blind mode, Nightmare. Let's begin. Wish me luck. Fuck me. One death. After FNaF 4, could you place this location? No, after FNaF 4 is FNaF World, and then we're doing FNaF World Update 2, and then we're doing sister locations. So we're doing, chronologically, not chronologically, like in their release order. So we're doing, FNaF World next. Holy shit, okay, I did not expect blind mode to be that disorientating. Honestly, the biggest thing about this one is just simply not knowing when Foxy's gonna be in the, I guess Mangle is in the, do new game. No, I'm not doing a new game. Oh my god. If you want to see me go play FNaF 4, there will be a video uploaded shortly where it shows all my completed runs for FNaF 4, or you can go back and watch the stream. Obviously you're new to the channel, so what we're currently doing is we're going through and we are 100%ing every single FNaF game. And so there's already showcase videos of FNaF 1, 2, and 3, and there will be one shortly of FNaF 4, because we beat it a few days ago. But I've split FNaF 4 and FNaF 4 Halloween Edition into two separate games. And FNaF Halloween Edition, I'm doing all the challenges to get the secret stars that'll be up here. If that makes sense. So no, I'm not doing a new game. Fuck me. Okay, that we got a minute and a half. But I completely fucked up the strategy. Okay, so it keeps it checked. I completely fucked up the strategy. Okay, I gotta remind myself. Yeah, the biggest thing that's gonna be challenging is when to know Fox is in the room. But I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna actually double check. Because this actually might be easier in Halloween Edition, knowing that once the static is playing, that means Mangle's in the room. So, does Mangle make static noise when in the closet in FNaF Halloween? Because my biggest thing was like, oh, I know there's a sound cue, but how am I really going to know? Only in this mode, once Fox has entered the wardrobe. Yeah, sweet. Alright, so Mangle will make a noise when she's in the wardrobe. How do you get FNaF World on Chromebook? Well, I know it's on Game Jolt. If you can't play it from Game Jolt, then unfortunately you just can't. I know that Chromebook is like one of the worst OSs for playing games. Unfortunately. I'll crap my timer. 2 deaths. Okay, we nearly made it to 3 AM, so that's certainly better. Wow. What FNaF electronics do you think you beat in a fight? Oh, definitely fucking Balloon Boy. I would fuck Balloon Boy up. Any of the small ones, Minarinas, Bitty Babs, maybe Plush Truck. Hang on. Okay, I can't know this death. Where was the wardrobe? I couldn't click on the wardrobe! Hello? Where was the wardrobe? Oh, you've got to be kidding me! I so thought didn't even hear any breathing. And the folder FNaF. Now, how do I play? Go into the folder, click on FNAFworld.exe. If it doesn't open, then you've exhausted my knowledge as far as I have. I mean, if you download it from GameJolt and you've got the folder, FNAFworld.exe should be inside. Just launch it. If it doesn't launch, then I don't know. Try Google. We got close. We got very close. Yeah! Woo! Okay, alrighty, okay. Okay. Yeah, we got it. We got the first star. Blind mode sucks. Oh my god, blind mode sucks. The biggest thing is making sure you're moving around the room. I had an issue there with Nightmare on. I'm not sure if you noticed, where I thought I was in the center of the room and I tried to go to the left door, when as a matter of fact I was still at the right door. And I thought I nearly died there. Or first attempt. No, that was our fifth attempt. That was our fifth attempt, which I will take. I'm quite happy with that. I will take that. We got a nightmare. I mean, once again, touch wood. Nightmare / Nightmare on is my fucking bitch. We got very lucky there with both laughs being real and both being on the bed. That was quite lucky, especially with blind mode. So I will take that. That's 1 of 3 blind modes complete. There's only a total of 3 nights you have to play blind. Thank God. So 1 of those is done. Okay. I know I've missed a lot of chat. I'm sorry. As you all know, I'm sure when I'm in a game, I'm gonna, especially with FNaF 4, especially with blind mode, and especially now that I'm in the challenge nights, I'm not reading chat whilst I'm in the middle of a night. Let's catch up. Okay, so Semi3D, I hope you were able to launch FNaF World. I'm assuming he's gone because he's playing FNaF World. Danbirds, hello again, been a while. Been a while, dude. How's it going? It's so good to see you again in the chat. I'm glad that you were able to join. It looks like I woke up just in time. You absolutely did. I was going to ask what the hell was going on, but just blind mode, yeah. So that's what was going on. I was wondering myself. I did not forget to select my screen to record. Don't worry, you know it's happened before. Yeah, blind mode is one of FNaF 4's challenges. I forgot what the other ones are. I think the other one is Nightmare mode. Could be wrong. So yeah, so I'll explain it. So essentially we're getting these stars at the top of here. There are 6 in total, 4 red, 2 blue. To get the 4 red ones, you need to beat Nightmare Night with 1 of each of the challenges selected. So we've got Blind Mode, we have Mad Freddy, which essentially makes Freddy even more aggressive. Insta Foxy, which always starts Foxy off in the closet immediately. And then All Nightmare, which is the entire 6 hours of just Nightmare. And then you get the 2 secret stars by beating All Nightmare Blind Mode, and then Blind Mode Mad Freddy Insta Foxy, which is the hardest one, which we are not going to attempt today. We'll see how far we can go. I quite frankly just wanted to keep the FNaF 4 train rolling. I know I said I was going to take a short break, and on one hand I probably should have, but I was feeling very confident with how I played the base game of FNaF 4. I quite frankly just wanted to jump straight into the challenge runs. So I might just take them a little bit slower, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Would see a FNaF game being all blind doesn't feel normal for me, probably because most of the FNaF games blind would be hell. Yeah, honestly, I saw it. Whoops, misclick. Imagine trying to do FNaF 2 9, but oh my god, FNaF 2 blind would be terrible. I mean, in theory, you could get most of the way there. The biggest thing though is, the biggest thing with this is just, you know, being able to click on the right things. Getting your cursor to land on the wind-up music box would be hell. But quite frankly, the strat would essentially... The only thing you would really need to see is if Toy Bonnie's in your vent. That's the only thing you would need to see. With FNaF 2. FNaF 1... Yeah, because the doors, they play a sound effect, but I think only the first time the animatronic appears there, so you couldn't do FNaF 1. And you couldn't do FNaF 3, because that all depends on seeing where Springtrap goes. Oh no, there are even audio cues in 512. There are audio cues in all of the games, especially with FNaF 3. It is important to hear, like, audio cues can help so much. But those games are far more built on visuals than audio cues. But the first 3 FNaF games, to my knowledge, especially FNaF 3, audio cues help and can help, so always pay attention to them. So yeah, hang on a second. So, I think FNaF 2 has audio cues for when something enters the vent, not too sure. Yes, it does, but quite frankly, in 1020 mode, it's not useful at all. Springtrap, though, it's useful with the vent sounds, and also the intensity of the ambience, because then you can alert to him, it can alert whether he's in a vent or how close he is to your office. So FNaF 3 is also quite sound heavy. Well, importance wise, FNaF 1 and 2 not so much. I know Scott said, I remember him talking about in an interview how he wanted in FNaF 1 to be like an important sound cue, and that being like Chica in the kitchen, you hear the pots and pans, and that was kind of the only important sound cue for Chica. But once again, when you hit in 420 mode, it doesn't matter where the fuck she is, as long as she's at your door. It's the only time Chica is an issue. Nice, first attempt, or yeah, no, I think it said form. I suppose it wasn't even hints on where you were. No, not at all. You've got to, I was watching challenges, and the best thing to do is essentially visualize what the game looks like right now, essentially. And it's just, it can be so difficult to keep track, especially to go to the closet. I understand why people said check the bed, then check the closet, because once you check the bed, your mouse immediately goes to the center of the screen, so as long as it's centered, just click and you'll be able to go to the closet. Otherwise, it can be so difficult to go to the closet. Temp's pretty good. I mean, I'll fucking take it. Like, I will take it all the way to Sunday. That's pretty good. Oh god, you have to do, yeah, 2 more times. Yeah, that's fair. Oh god, sounds like hell. But hey, yeah, hi mate, yeah, good to see you. Been there, struggles. Understandable. Dude, life comes at you hard and fast. But hopefully I can provide a distraction for a little while. All Nightmare is what I was thinking of. I'm honestly not scared for All Nightmare. I've died to Nightmare Fredbear a few times in Night 5 because I was still learning the mechanic, but after Night 5, I haven't died to that sort of animatronic since. Nightmare, Nightmarion, haven't died to them yet. Yet. Watch All Nightmare blind mode, I'll just get my fucking ass eaten. Once again, once the two laughs are out of the way, like, it's quite frankly piece easy. As long as you know what you're doing. As long as you can navigate the room properly. Well, what happens when the stars are golden, just like bragging rights? Pretty much, you gotta pretty much just bragging rights. But here, Nightmare blind, get the puppet in FNaF 2, oh god. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be really honest. I think Mad Freddy and Ince Foxy are probably gonna be about as-ish difficult as maybe blind mode, because as you can see, you've then got these extra added challenges to deal with. All Nightmare I'm not too concerned of. All Nightmare blind mode's certainly going to be difficult. I don't know if it would be more difficult than just normal blind mode. But blind mode, Mad Freddy, Ince Foxy, I'm genuinely not looking forward to having to beat. But let's jump into Mad Freddy. Let's get jiggy with it. Freddy. Oh my god, my vision's back. Organize. Oh! Okay, great start. Great start. I don't know how far I'm going to get today, but I want to beat at least one thing. Okay, just load in the areas, load in the areas. Holy shit. Hey, why am I checking the closet? I don't need to. No, you walk away! I really should have listened again because it was very quick. It was a very fast sound of them walking away. Just loading the wardrobe first. Dude, I did not hear any breathing. That's alright. It's okay. Okay, once Michael's in the wardrobe, suddenly adds some challenge. That wasn't too bad. No, I don't. It's gonna be pretty cheesy. I don't know the leader of Pencil Parch. I shouldn't be reading chat. And that's another one done. Only 3 deaths on Mad 3. Wow! Alrighty. 2 stars. 2. I'm getting very sick of the main gameplay. Do I split this? Try and split this into 3 streams. And then I do Insta-Foxy and All Nightmare in 1 stream. And then All Nightmare Blind Mode and then these 3 in 1 stream. Or do I just go and do Insta-Foxy and All Nightmare now? Because I'm excited to play All Nightmare. I really want to play All Nightmare. But I feel like if I play All Nightmare, surely I should follow up with Blind Mode immediately after, because it's just the same thing but blind, and I feel like it would just be nice to knock those two out. Also, I'm kind of feeling done with FNaF 4 today. You know what? I've got stuff to do today, and I've got people coming over later today, so I'm actually going to call it there for the stream. There is no need to beat these as quickly as possible for me. As long as I'm consistently attacking them, then that's what matters to me. And for this stream, we've got 2 stars. That is fucking awesome. That is 2/3 of the way there, technically. Alright, so the fact that both of those took less deaths than 2020 mode, or just regular Nightmare night. I think I died 9 times on Nightmare, and then I died 8 times on 2020. So sweet. I'm not going to complain about that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll stop the stream here. I'll chat for a little bit maybe. But I'll come back, and maybe in another stream I'll try and do Insta-Foxy, so I can, besides the last challenge, just finish off like the 4 Nightmare sections of the night, because quite frankly it's that I'm getting quite tired of. I mean, it was the same with FNaF 2. Like, FNaF 2 was a little brutal in a way, because I had to play 6 nights, and then like 7 different custom night presets, and then on top of that beat 1020 mode. Like, that was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. But, and this is kind of following the same vein. I've already now completed 10 nights in total of FNaF 4. I don't think any of the other games, I mean, FNaF 1 had 7. FNaF 2 had, how many custom night presets were in? I think it was 8. So, like, 6, 14. This has 14 nights, this game as well. FNaF 3. That had, like, because I had to replay the first 5 nights, so technically that had, like, 12 nights. At least they're only 6 minutes, these ones. So yeah, I think I'll come back. I'll do Insta-Foxy. I'm not really too concerned with Insta-Foxy. I'm also not too concerned with Nightmare or Nightmare Blind Mode, quite frankly. Especially once you can get those 2 laughs out of the way, if you're lucky enough, then you're sweet. Then you're quite literally set for the rest of the night. Because it's so nice knowing one of the key parts about Nightmare, and this is my tip to you if you're ever trying to, because once again, if people want to attempt these, or at least want to play along somehow, I have a list that I've compiled of how to 100% every single Five Nights at Freddy's game, and as I'm going through it, I am slightly updating them. There's very few that I need to slightly update, but I've like slightly updated. I'm going through and I'm keeping the list maintained to make sure that it has everything possible to 100% every single FNaF game. And I've also included FNaF Academy, which is a playlist on videos on tips, tricks, and guides on how to like beat FNaF nights and get down the strats and some of the technical parts of FNaF and how to beat all those max modes, done by Ambience, who's a very well-known max moder in the FNaF community. So definitely go check those out if you are at all interested. I am not figuring these tactics out by myself. These are tactics that have been studied, tried, and tested by the max mode community, and I would not be attempting these challenges if I was playing on my own. So yeah, so that was first 2 nights of Halloween edition. Sweet! I'm not too concerned about the next 3 nights. It's the last one I'm concerned about because I've heard it is harder than FNaF, than 2020 mode. And quite frankly, in a way, it's the whole thing is extremely strict timing. So you do need a little bit of RNG from Bonnie and Chica, just not be too cruel on that night. But as long as, you know, you can get the breathing down, close the doors, it's just incredibly strict timing. So I've heard. Alrighty. Let's catch them in chat. Because honestly, thought Fredbear and Nightmare would have like an ever so slight difference in their gameplay or something, but yeah. No, they are the exact same. It's just that Nightmare is more aggressive because obviously he's on the harder nights. The only kind of difference in their gameplay is that on night 5 for Fredbear, he can do a total of, I believe, 4 real laughs throughout the night, purely because obviously he gets a full 6 hours whilst the rest of them get 2 hours. But starting from night 6, it's always only 2 real laughs for Fredbear and for Nightmare. Even in all Nightmare mode, where you do get 6 hours of Nightmare, thankfully, it's still only 2 real laughs he can do. I'm very thankful about. With me, Freddy, I'll let you do the outro with me. I haven't needed to break apart Toy Bonnie yet. I haven't, well, for a while, I haven't got that frustrated recently, much at all, which I'm very happy about. Wait, for to ask for FNaF 4, if you time your light wrong, do you, like, die? The whole light, I mean. Yeah, basically you can flash at any point except when they're at the door. So yeah, so how... I'll give you a brief rundown of how FNaF 4 works. So essentially you've got Freddy on the bed, who essentially is kind of like the puppet in FNaF 4. If you don't put him at bay after a certain time, he'll kill you. Flash the bed, get rid of the Freddles, you'll be fine. Freddy and... No, Bonnie and Chica, they're at the left and right doors, similar to their first game. And they will... You can hear footsteps, and some of them are important to listen to, of them moving behind your bedroom, and Chica will sometimes go into the kitchen, then they can come down your hallways. When they're at your door, you will hear breathing. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's soft. If you hear breathing, it means they're directly at your door. You need to close that door until you hear them walk away. Once they've walked away, open the door, flash the light, keep going. It's important to flash the light, because it means that you clear the hallway. So let's just say if they're at the back of the hallway, but not at your door, if you flash them, they'll move back behind your bedroom, meaning that you now have more time before they come back to your door. And ideally, you can flash them enough that they come to your door not very often, because obviously having to close the door just adds time, and, you know, listening for breathing is just annoying. And then Foxy's quite interesting. He essentially has 2 mechanics. So he'll run at the back of your room as per usual. You can hear his footsteps. In these later nights, you do not need to track that, because you have more things to worry about than Foxy running behind your room. If you hear him running up to the door, if you can, it's good to check him, because then it keeps him out of the room, which ultimately is easier to deal with. But once you've got Instant Foxy, it doesn't matter. But if he's at a door and you go to the opposite door, he will sneak into your room. His gameplay shifts. He essentially, like Freddy, just becomes a ticking time bomb. He's in your closet. If you don't pay attention to him enough, he will kill you. Close the closet door to keep him chill. But what Mad Freddy does obviously makes Freddy more aggressive, and Insta Foxy immediately places him into your closet. I think once you go to a door, no matter what, Foxy will just come straight in. So you do get a little bit of respite with Foxy not in the room, but like it's basically negligible. So that's how it works. Oh yeah, alright, never knew that. So FNaF 4 is heavy audio reliant game. Got it. Oh, FNaF 4 is incredibly audio. I think the reason Scott made FNaF 4 was obviously FNaF 3, one of the biggest things it was criticized for was not being very scary, especially with Springtrap's jump scare. I still think FNaF 3 is about as scary as the first 3. I would say it's more scary than FNaF 2. But Springtrap's jump scare is very lame. So Scott essentially said, alright, let's just make this game really fucking scary. And so he decided to obviously put it in Child's bedroom, make the nightmare animatronics, make them just super scary, which works. But then he came up with the mechanic of essentially, well, what if people have to turn their volume up really loud so they can listen to breathing through a door? And when they shine that light, it's kind of that moment of truth of, am I going to get jump scared or am I going to live? Which is a really neat mechanic and definitely scared me when I first started playing. Even now, this is the only game that still scares me a little bit when I launch it. The other games don't really scare me at all now. FNaF 4 still gets under my skin a little bit. Not as nearly as much as when I started, thank God. And then essentially from that, Scott thought of, oh, well, FNaF 1, I tried to make audio necessary for the kitchen, but it didn't really work. So then let's essentially make this game entirely audio reliant. And then from there, he's like, oh shit, blind mode! Because Fuck the players of this game. I can nerd out about FNaF for way too long. I love how I can legit just close my eyes and listen with random occasional jump scares. Pretty much. I mean, YouTube channel I watch called The Bones 5. They are cracked. They started their YouTube channel off by essentially just wanting to beat the max modes of FNaF, but he did some other stuff. I think he did like a Dark Souls video without dying, which is insane. I know nothing about Dark Souls, but I know enough to know that that is just absolutely fucking insane. I'd rather work a 12-hour shift at the ball crushing factory. But then he went on to kind of like really join the Max Mode community, and he's been doing really awesome FNaF challenges. I don't know where I got to this. Yeah, no, Bones 5, awesome. Go check him out. He also did guide videos on like the first, all the Click Team games. I'm pretty sure he did. Once I'm out of the Click Team games, I think Ambience did ones on Help Wanted, which I'll be much appreciative of because I still haven't played much of Help Wanted VR. But then kind of after that, I'm smooth sailing because until we get to the FanVerse games, because I've done everything else. I've already played it all, so it doesn't matter. See what else we'll talk about. But yeah, no. Oh yes, that's right. See, he was making a video on the blind mode challenges, and he essentially went, well, it'd be really boring if I just recorded myself playing blind mode. Let's actually do it without blind mode, but then I'll blind mode myself, which is actually even more difficult because then you can't have a timer to see what time it is. You can't see where your cursor is on the screen. That makes it so much more difficult having yourself blindfolded rather than just playing blind mode. So good for him for beating that. Everything that's actually peaceful makes me sleepy. Good to know. Fair enough. So it's just been hell sleeping in the past days. Understandable. If I've got bad sleep the last couple of days, I'm sleeping any time of the day. What up? You want to hear a joke about pizza? Yeah, I saw that pop up in the corner of my eye, and I'm like, because it's too cheesy. There, you said my joke. Do you know who made the pencil punches? I do not. The ruler. That joke was tough, right? Well, bye. Okay, what with the extra? How did I just witness that? Like you think in the dark? What the fuck? That's Nightmare On. So Nightmare On is the nightmare equivalent in the Halloween edition. To my knowledge, the entirety of Halloween edition, including the challenge nights, aren't canon, except for Nightmare Balloon Boy. He is canon, and hence why his minigame was added to the base game. I think Nightmare On has kind of been turned canon now, as of recent, but I'm still not entirely sure about that. At least Mangle in the Halloween update makes it real obvious when they're in the closet. See, on one hand, that's good, because then, at least for the first blind mode, I knew when Mangle had entered. But when we get to the rest of the game modes with Insta Foxy, it's gonna be pain having the constant radio noise in my ears. I try to listen to the breathing. I'm in places. Oh yeah, there you go. Already beat. Dang, alright. Up to you, I guess. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna need to go. I'm gonna wish you sleepy for life. Yeah, fair enough. Go sleep. Go have some sleepy. Honestly, I'd say if you're feeling tired, take a break. Yeah. Well, then take a dive. Kenny's was the thing. First games, right? Yes. Yes, it is. I'm actually really looking forward to getting to the FanVerse games. It's going to be a while away because we're going to start playing them after all the mainline games, and I'm sure by the time I get up to Secret of the Mimic, there would be more games that would have been released since then. Guys, good night, beat, stay safe, join the next stream. Alright, hopefully you can. I'm not sure when it will be, but sometime next week. I'm not going to stream tomorrow, so have a good one. It's really good to see you again. Damn birds. Stay safe. Have a good night. Will you just do the first snack, or are you also doing 2 and 3? Okay. Thanks, Melfi. You've unlocked the more yapping phase. We're gonna get a Google Doc in here. I'm so sorry. Not a Google Doc, a Word doc. Alright, so pretty FanVerse games. I spelled FanVerse wrong. FanVerse games. And then FanVerse games. I'm gonna explain something through graph form or list form to make sure I can keep track in my mind. Please don't think I'm mansplaining or making people feel dumb. Okay, so there were 5 total series included in the Fanverse. There was FNaF Plus, Pop Goes, Candies, Drove Creation or T-Jock, and FNAC. Let's go by one. 199 Flumpties. Did I say 199 Flumpties? 199 Flumpties as well. 199 Flumpties came out as a pre-Fanverse game, and then 199 Flumpties 2 came out as a pre-Fanverse game. These versions of 199 Flumpties I will not be playing because they are not official FNaF games. When it came to the Fanverse, see, he didn't really call them... They weren't like remastered or anything. I just believe essentially what happened was, what was his name? Can't remember who made it now. Starts with J. I know. When he got inducted into the Fanverse, Scott wanted to have 199 Flumpties 1, 2, or at least the plan was he was going to release 199 Flumpties 1, 2, and then make a 3rd game for the Fanverse. So he went back and he essentially remastered 1 and 2, but I don't think they're called remastered versions. I think they're just slightly higher quality, and he just removed any and all copyrightable material from them, because there was a lot of copyrightable material. Oh. So we've got essentially the remastered version of 1 and 2, which are pretty much the same as the first 2, and then 199 Flumpties 3. These are official Fanverse games. These are the 3 that I'm going to play. Let's move to Candies. So, Five Nights at Candies, Five Nights at Candies 2, Five Nights at Candies 3 will get released pre-Fanverse. I think Five Nights at Candies 4 was announced to be in development before the Fanverse came out, but once the Fanverse did come out, FNAC 4 became essentially the new installment for the FNAC series for the Fanverse. FNAC Remastered came out. Once again, I'm pretty sure before the Fanverse... Why are the ends going down? I want the ends to be capitalized. I'm pretty sure FNAC Remastered came out once again before the Fanverse, and I'm pretty sure it's also not the official remastering for FNAC 1 for the Fanverse, because Emil Mako revealed a while ago the logos for the new FNAC games. Let's see if I can find them. And then like titled like FNAC 1, 2, 3 something, and then FNAC 4. Once again, I have the encyclopedic knowledge of FNAF stuff. No wonder I had the FNAF news channel running for a while. Let's see if I can find the FNAC logo. That's it. So he's calling them DX. So you can see the new logos he's announced. So we've got Five Nights at Candies 2, 3, DX, and then Five Nights at Candies 4. So I'm pretty sure that Five Nights at Candies Remastered is simply a remastering of the first FNAC game. It's not actually going to be part of the Fanverse, or isn't part of the Fanverse. And so because of that, once again, I will not be playing these. But I will be playing, when they come out, because these games have not released yet, FNAC DX. Why is the N uncapitalizing? I want it capitalized. FNAC 2 DX, FNAC 3 DX, and then FNAC 4, as these will be the official FNAC fan games in the Fanverse. There we go. All right. I have played these. I've played these to 100% completion, except for FNaF 3. I did miss those Vincent nights because they are ungodly difficult. Otherwise, I have 100% of these. I think I played these two. By 100% of them, it's just beat the night. I think I played these two. Can't actually remember. If I did play them, I definitely beat them. I think I did. All right, FNaF Plus, obviously was in development, got cancelled. Ton of drama behind that. No longer part of the fanverse. I know there's talk about possibly including, because I know Emil Mako and Kane Carter, the developers of Pop Goes and FNAC, had made a game called Chef Wanted or something, which was essentially going to be slightly FNAF 6 styled, in which it started off with a Pac-Man inspired FNAF game called Chase Animatronics, which is a play on Case Animatronics, but then would expand into the larger Chef Wanted, which would be a much larger game. But they ended up scrapping it because I think they didn't have time, and they got into the fanverse with their other projects, and they just revealed the entire story on their YouTube channels or something. So I'm pretty sure, to my knowledge, Chef Wanted is just cancelled. It's not coming back. But I know that Kane Carter has been in talks with Scott on adding Chase Animatronics to the fanverse, and similar to, like, what I'm assuming would be somewhat similar to My Pop Goes, just expanded upon and given a new name apparently. But that hasn't been official, and I'm not sure if any new games will be added to the fanverse. We'll see. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Pop Goes. So, Pop Goes has had a very interesting history. There was Pop Goes Arcade, or be specific, 2016 edition. Pop Goes Arcade 2. I believe those were the only released Pop Goes games, because Kane Carter worked on so many different Pop Goes projects that just fell through and never saw the light of day. Like a sequel to Pop Goes, I think it was called Pop Goes at the Forest. There was a Pop Goes finale game. There were so many Pop Goes projects that didn't see the light of day. But Kane Carter kind of got to the point where he knew he wanted to continue Pop Goes, but he wanted to reboot it. And so out came Pop Goes Arcade 2020. And I'm going to put this here for a reason. Because Pop Goes Arcade 2020 edition came out pre-fanverse. And then the fanverse happened. And so essentially what Kane Carter said he was going to do was he was going to release Pop Goes Arcade under the fanverse title, and he did. He released Pop Goes Arcade with some updates, retitled it The Dead Forest, and then he released a free DLC on top of that. Or I guess essentially this was still free because this is essentially Pop Goes Arcade 2020 edition. Except this stopped receiving support and this started getting updates. And then he essentially then added the DLC to it. I think it's Pop Goes Arcade, Pop Goes and the Machinist. Which was essentially a DLC, almost kind of like a sequel. Like it was a whole additional game on top of the Dead Forest that came out. And then that was released as free as Pop Goes Arcade, which is in the fanverse. Once again, I am playing these. He's currently working on Pop Goes Evergreen, which is essentially kind of like a remastering of Pop Goes, but in this new story he's telling. And of course, he also released My Pop Goes, which initially there was a old version. I don't know what to call it. There was a My Pop Goes release that wasn't a part of the fanverse, and then it got re-released, but better, as a part of the fanverse. It's all very confusing which games are part of the fanverse and which aren't. There's so many duplicates. And like I said, you got me yapping. I love yapping. I do love me some yapping. Now, Joy of Creation. There was the Joy of Creation, which was the game where you essentially just turned in a circle for as long as you possibly could. Very boring. A Joy of Creation Reborn, which I think never exited its alpha stage. I think the game that we've got now, which is the ones where like Freddy in the hallways and Chica as Slender Man, that kind of thing, that never got finished. That was still only ever in an alpha phase. And there was Joy of Creation Halloween Edition, which was essentially kind of like a longer level from Reborn, but it was Springtrap in Fazbear Frights. And there was the Joy of Creation story mode, which is like the only fully completed full-length T-Jock game, I believe, which is the one where you're in the house and you play the 5 different levels. I 100%ed all of these. Well, you can't really 100% T-Jock. I think I got to like 10 minutes or something. And you can't 100%... you just beat Halloween mode and I beat Reborn. And I technically 100% of story mode, except for the version where you need to beat the whole game without dying, because that's fucking insane. So I didn't attempt that. But in this, we're getting the Joy of Creation. Just a Joy of Creation. It was going to be called Ignite Collection. And it was going to include a remastering of story mode, Reborn, and I think it's actually called Classic. But not Halloween Edition, which I'm slightly disappointed for, because I quite enjoyed Halloween Edition. But eventually, the name Ignite Collection got scrapped, and so did the remastering of Classic mode, which I get, it's boring. And it's just a remastering of Reborn and story mode wrapped up into the Joy of Creation, which is looking phenomenal. I think that's everything. I think we're there. Alrighty, let's recap. The original One Night at Flumpty's 1 and 2, not playing, not part of the fanverse. The original FNaF 1 to 3 and FNAF Remastered, not playing, not part of the fanverse. Pop Goes Arcade 2016, Pop Goes 2, and Pop Goes Arcade 2020, not playing, not a part of the fanverse. As well as the old version of My Pop Goes. T-Jock Classic Reborn, Halloween Edition, and Story Mode, I'm not playing, not part of the fanverse. What is officially out a part of the fanverse is One Night at Flumpty's 1, 2 Remastered, and One Night at Flumpty's 3. Those are currently out, so I will play them. FNAF DX, FNAF DX2, FNAF DX3, and FNAF 4, they're not out, but I will play them when they come out. Pop Goes Arcade The Dead Forest, and Pop Goes Arcade, Pop Goes and the Machinist, which are out, and I will play. My Pop Goes, once again, that has been released, I will play. Pop Goes Evergreen, and The Joy of Creation, which are not out, but I will play. It's looking likely that The Joy of Creation is coming out this year. It's also looking somewhat likely that Evergreen will also come out this year. I reckon if it's not this year, it'll definitely be next year. I'll be interested to see how these games come out, when these games come out. But I forgot one. FNAF, the 8-bit FNAF game that Milako is also working on, which I believe is also part of the fanverse. And I think there's technically like one more. I'm not entirely sure. It makes me... Hang on a second. I hope my mansplaining has, summed it all up. I'm just addicted to FNAF, everything there is about it. Oh, shit. Hang on. Is Junior's Into the Flip Side out yet? No. It's not. Whoa. So there's still about 6 months ago, they said they were 75 to 80% done with their game. Hopefully it comes out soon, because I really enjoyed Juniors. I'm excited to see it. Essentially remastered by people who weren't a part of The Onion, was it called? Yeah, I'm excited to see Juniors again. Yeah. Yeah, because there's Long Pop Goes, which Kane Carter released, and Long Candy. Okay, that's okay. Hang on. Never mind. Okay, I've got it. Because on Kane Carter's Game Jolt, there's a page for Pop Goes Evergreen, and then there's obviously the outdated versions of My Pop Goes and Pop Goes Arcade, and then there's his Pop Goes Archive, which has everything Pop Goes. So the original Pop Goes, Arcade 1, Arcade 2, and then a bunch of his kind of stuff that hasn't really come out. And then there's Long Pop Goes, that's right, because I knew this came out. This came out 4 years ago, wow. And I wasn't sure if this was part of the Fanverse initiative or not. But here it says, Long Pop Goes is a free downloadable pack of custom emoji-sized images created for use in Discord servers. It is an official Pop Goes product by Kane Carter, but it isn't a game or a part of the Fazbear Fanverse initiative. And it sums it up. So that's it. That's what we got. Alright, I've been yapping on for way too long. I apologize. This is a FNaF 4 stream. Goddamn. It was nice, listen. I'm now aware. Okay. I'm glad. I'm sorry. Alrighty. I'll catch you all very, very soon. I gotta go. Goodbye. Good chat with you.